Aria, is that you?
Hi, Saturn. Are you okay? How are you doing?
I'm not doing great. I'm pretty frustrated right now. I feel like I just am never gonna have the energy to be able to go home again. I've been hovering above Earth. I can't get grounded. I don't know how I'm gonna transcend. I'm kind of freaking out. I've been having all these nightmares, and I just feel like I can't even get help from anyone. I don't know what to do.
I think I understand. I think I feel similarly in a lot of ways. And hopefully, maybe I can offer you some ideas about how you might feel more grounded within everything that's happening. But I'm wondering if you feel like there's anything that you know for sure makes you feel good right now.
I feel good when I'm transcending and that I'm assured that I have a stockpile of energy within myself that I can pull from at any time. I'm starting to really like draw from the bottom, and that is not making me feel good right now. So I don't know like how I'm supposed to just keep going when I'm running on fumes.
So, I wanted to talk to you a bit today about what grief is. There's something happening right now that's especially challenging for the people of Earth. It's a sense of a grief that is winding through us and moving through us in a way that is really intense and a lot to feel and experience. Moving through grief and processing grief is a complicated thing to do. And a lot of people on Earth don't know how to process or work with grief. Almost nobody does, really, because it's something that is mysterious to some degree, because it involves all of our emotions at once. Grief rolls in, it rolls in with anger, it rolls in with sadness, it rolls in with fear, it rolls in with anxiety. It's hard to find the root of it sometimes, and it's hard to know when it's going to hit you. So it might be what you're experiencing right now, Saturn, is the grief and the difficulty of processing emotions at once.
I'm definitely very emotional right now.
So I wanted to teach you or tell you or talk to you about something that I do to help with this grief that I'm experiencing, um, and maybe it'll make you be able to move through it a little bit easier.
That sounds great.
Okay. So something that you're talking about is the energy in your body, and when you feel transcendent and you feel really alive and awake and full of your being, that's a good feeling. But when we feel scared and we feel like anger and confusion and all these other emotions, that is a energy that is super uncomfortable. And when it comes to processing grief in our culture, so often we turn away from it, or we smother it. I guess what I'm saying, Saturn, is that we can't run away from the way that we feel right now. We can't ignore it. We can't go to a party. We can't do any of the things that used to help us be able to just kind of close our eyes and ears to the way that we're feeling. The best thing we can do right now is to sit and to feel it, and to know that we're stronger and more resilient than the emotions in our bodies, and to allow the emotion to pass through. And then we're able to stand back up, show up, and participate and help and support people. And I think that as difficult as this practice is right now, I think it's really, 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 really important. And it's a good tool, not just for what's happening on Earth right now, but also anytime in the whole rest of your life. Just being able to acknowledge your feelings and accept them and sit with them and let them pass, because they will pass, Saturn. They'll pass. Saturn, I don't know if you have time for it, but I wanted to share a meditation with you that to me is helpful all of the time, but I find it especially helpful right now because when you're talking about your transcendent energy and accessing that, it's hard to access that when you're not feeling well and you're afraid. In a lot of ways, the expansive energy is the antithesis of fear, because when we're afraid, we're very small, we feel unsafe, we're not able to be in our power and to be able to express in all the ways that we're capable. But the meditation I want to share with you is something that I've done for many years that helps me feel like the central sort of truth of who I am and what it means to be alive can get reacquainted more quickly. And I would like to share this with you.
Let's do it.
Okay, Saturn. So first you're just going to close your eyes and just take a moment to feel your big planetary body in the space that you're in, just sitting in the room, feeling the weight of your body on the ground, and just taking a moment to tune into that simple feeling of your presence in space and checking to see how that feels. If there's any tension, any nervousness, are you holding muscles anywhere? And just gently breathing in and letting your body relax more into space. And as you feel a little bit more present, a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more weighted into the room, we're going to take a journey. I want you to start to think back in time. Think so far back that you can find your earliest memory. Take your time with this. Maybe you've explored your earliest memory before, and so you know right away what it is. Maybe you've never thought about your earliest memory, but I want you to go all the way back, taking your time and finding your very earliest memory of being on Earth, of experiencing your body, of experiencing your life, and just see what that is. Just find that. Don't judge what it is. A lot of times our earliest memories are something that was frightening, maybe something that made us remember or made us realize. But we're not going to worry about that right now. We're just tuning into that earliest memory. And once you have the memory and you've thought a bit about the details of that time, of that moment, I want you to think about your point of perspective. Think about the point of perspective that is that memory, that was in that memory. And I want you to notice that no matter what age you were at the time of that memory, maybe you were 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old, that point of perspective that experienced your oldest memory is the same point of perspective that's in the center of who you are today. That point of perspective probably doesn't feel like a 2-year-old's mind. That point of perspective probably feels like the same point of perspective you are today. An ageless part of you, an observant part of you, a piece of you that knew so much before you even lived out what your life would be, a part of you that is before the story of who you would become, a part of you that is always with you even after you live your whole life. From 2 years old to however you live, that point of perspective is the core center of your consciousness. And when we're most centered and we've processed our emotions and we're balanced in a way, that point, that central point, is so accessible and so comfortable. It embodies everything that we are. It holds a anchored middle ground of our experience of ourselves. And so Saturn, when you feel ungrounded and you feel afraid and you feel unsure and you feel like there's no options, you can't do your work, you can't leave your house, you're worried about everyone you love, take a moment to feel the gravity underneath your body and tune into that center point of your perspective, the all-knowing, wise, quiet part of you that's always been there and always will be there. Part of you that experiences what you feel. Fear is not you. Fear is something you are experiencing. You are always there in the center of what you're experiencing. And when you tune into that space, Saturn, and you move through your fears and you're able to be there for yourself in that way, you'll be able to be there for everybody you love, because everybody you love is collectively experiencing these same waves, these waves of grief, these waves of sadness, these waves of fear, of illness, of everything happening. And every human being is tied together right now collectively in this experience. And so when you're having your waves of fear, take some comfort in knowing that you're part of a human family that is experiencing that too. Not comfort in that we are experiencing fear, but a recognition that what you experience is not yours alone to bear, and that what you learn and grow through within this process is helping gain your resilience and your strength in your center, so that you can come back, and when your loved ones and your community is in that fear wave, is in their grief, is losing things that are precious to them, you'll be able to be there and you'll be able to hold them, and you'll be able to give to them, and you'll be connected in the central wisdom that we share and in the grief that we share, in the collective experience of us being human. Take a deep breath. In Chinese medicine, the lungs are the organ that represents grief energetically. In the last many weeks, I've thought about breath, my own breath, the breath of life, so many times. I'm sorry, I'm gonna cry. It's just really intense. And just holding space for that. That we're all tied together in our breath, and we're all tied together in our strength, and we're all tied together in our grief, and we have to be able to move through it and be there for one another. And I think it's important to also remember that we're part of a big story. It's not just the story of 2020. We're part of a fabric of reality, and we have ancestors that have lived so long and deep ahead of us, that have lived through so much, and our lives are happening now in a point of reality in which this experience is what we're in. But there's so much more of this story, and there's so much more of this experience, from the deep past to the deep future. And Saturn, you're always going to be there. The Earth is always going to be there. The energy of the universe is always going to be there. And whenever you feel ready, you can open your eyes and come back to the room.
Thank you for that. I think it's good to be present, but to also know that this is not the first time that we've collectively felt grief, and that we are resilient and we will be able to get through this together.
Yeah, we will.
I forget that being in my pod, that everyone else is also going through this too.
Yeah. I love you, Saturn.
I love you, Aria. Thank you so much for sharing that with me.
Thank you for being here, and call me again soon. I worry about you.
I will. Bye.
Bye.